Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Always Online, a multiplayer gaming podcast brought to you by MMORPG.com, your home for all things multiplayer related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. magicman. As always, it's Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. That means it's time for our live show, twitch.tv/MMOBomb. If you get a chance to drop on by for a live show, we've got some first-timers making it live in chat today. Fantastic. Put your opinions in the chat. We'll be sure to bring them up in the show. Got a lot to go through, so let's introduce the hosts and get started. First up, Mrs. Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
I'm not a lot, other than me just getting lots of, emails about video game tarot cards.
I mean, I guess there's worse things to get emails about, though, right?
I think there are. I kind of want to agree to a few of them just to get tarot card decks.
You're like, yeah, send them.
Just give them to me.
Send them on over. Also on the line, he's back, Mr. Dom Greco. What's up, sir?
Hello. How
Welcome
are you
back.
today?
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me, pulling me away from a very hard day of work.
A very hard day of work for the Zista. So you are now officially part of Goose Goose Duck. Congratulations.
Yep.
It was a game that you were a fan of and had done the first look for us back when you were just a fan. So It was legitimate, like, gripes and things that you liked about a game you were enjoying. But now you are part of the team. What do you do over there?
I'm a game developer for Gaggle Studios, who does Goose Goose Duck. I do game design, QA, and community development.
Look at that. So don't trust any opinion this man has on Goose Goose Duck. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's the one thing that I do like. Even though you were like very active in the community and they knew you were going to do the first look, they were like, "Hey, you know what? Say what you want to say. You know, it's a first look video. We got to be able to take the criticism. And now that you're on the inside, you can use that criticism to make a better game.
Exactly what I've been doing.
So fantastic. Congratulations. That's great news for you. Great news. We got a box, though, before we get started. We got a box. Now, I know who it's from. I'll tell you in just a second. I don't know what's in it. I've just cracked the tape to make it easier on the show here when we open it. And I do know that there may be a food item of some type included in here that they just wanted to give us a heads up was gluten-free / vegan and stuff like that. So this is from Gung Ho Online Entertainment. And if you don't know them, they are the Deathverse Let It Die team, which is, after it was delayed, it is now actually going to release. This is going to be the free-to-play kind of brawler, battle royale-ish, game show, death is entertainment type thing. You're going to be able to get this on PlayStation on September 28th, and the PC version drops on Steam October 5th. So that is right around the corner. Of course, we'll be doing the first look video for that. So let's open up the box and see what we got. A lot of bubble wrap. Awful lot of bubble wrap. And let's not, dox myself or anything. So, awful lot. I can't even see what the hell that might be. So, let's dig in. All right, we got a couple of things here. This is definitely not food, but let's, I mean, these we can just put on, right? What do you think, Q? Is it me? This is me,
Which
right?
Is way behind.
Actually, Twitch has been having issues all morning to the point where you almost couldn't sign into the site a couple of different times. So, good luck, Twitch. But
so just give me a minute for Twitch to catch up.
I feel like these are definitely me. Definitely.
I see them. I think they're fantastic.
Okay, now we're there. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can't see a blessed thing because they're not prescription, and it looks like I'm looking through screens. But yeah, here we'll just make it.
Oh, so you're gonna
there we go. That's styling right there. Just put my glasses on over the top of that. That is absolutely styling. All right, so that's one. What else we got in here? Those are kind of cool, actually. Okay, this looks like a T-shirt. Let's see what's on it from Gung Ho Entertainment, and we've kind of got their little logo there over a T-shirt pocket, and then the Master Deathverse Let It Die logo. Pretty sweet. Nice T-shirt. And then I got something else. This is also in bubble wrap, so let me get this shit out of here. Let's see what this is. All right, it's a little box that has their kind of logo on it. And that's it. But let's see what's... It's from Sugar Lab. So
Cookies.
I'm
right?
assuming it's like a sweets of some type.
It has to be cookies based
All right.
on that box.
So we've got a little...
Based on the name of the company.
Yeah, right. Death verse, what is this? Drop my head, hey, be gentle, into a glass filled with 6 ounces of sparkling water or your drink of choice. Stir and let the magic, or shall I say curse, do its thing. Mix it with your favorite alcohol for an even better effect. No allergens, vegan, yes. A ginger detox bomb. Yo, senpai, I heard you need some detox from all that nasty shit in your system. Drink this to flush everything out. 3D printed with ginger-flavored sugar and edible glitter. And fresh to death. Time for that refreshment. Haha. Uncle Death Inc. does not accept any liability for damages incurred aside from making you sick as hell. 3D printed with peppermint-flavored sugar. So, yeah, they're definitely not cookies. They're little...
3D printed sugars.
Yeah, 3D printed, like, drink bombs. Go ahead and drop them into your drink.
So they're bath bombs, but for your drink.
But yeah, they're bath bombs. Sugar. They're bath bombs for your vodka. You know?
Just in case you want a vodka bath.
Right. I
mean, who doesn't?
That's actually really cute. Like, I didn't even know anything about Sugar Labs, but that is definitely a company I think worth taking a peek at if they're making cool shit like that.
Yeah, that's pretty clever.
That is clever. So thank you to Gung Ho Entertainment for the snazzy shades, T-shirt, and my vodka bath bombs. We will definitely get good use out of those. Remember, Deathverse coming up end of this month for PlayStation, and early October for PC. No, they didn't sponsor this. I'm actually looking forward to kind of checking that one out. I do like that whole like Smash TV, death is entertainment, dystopian future stuff. So. But it is a battle royale type game, so I don't know how much I'll actually enjoy it. We'll see.
When you first said you had food, something edible that you were gonna open up, I thought you were gonna be talking about like the Pocky chip, like it's gonna be something like that. Yeah. And I was really worried at first. I was like, oh boy,
not
Please
again!
Don't tell me you're doing that before the show.
Not again, man. Whew, that was rough. That was rough. Still a great video
I might try it this year.
Ready Check Radio's YouTube.
Did you hear about the one this year? It turns your tongue blue.
Oh, yay. Because that's
to
exactly
prove that you actually ate it.
Oh, is that what it is?
So it's like a Kool-Aid kind of or something, probably.
Well, we definitely ate it.
You could see them sweating on camera.
Yeah,
just like
we have a lovely highlight video over on Ready Check Radio where poor Torchwick just like progressively looks like he's dying more and more as the stream went on.
How long did you go without?
I went the full hour. Yeah,
you did. Okay,
yeah,
nice.
Torchwick and I went the full hour. Perry was out after a minute. Like it was the final count.
That's
fair. We had to go back and watch the tape. The final count was 1 minute 13 seconds, I think, something like that. And then he just got up from his computer and left his Rocket League car standing or sitting still. It's just Torchwick and I playing. But yeah, and we did manage to win a match or two. Yeah, go check that video out. It's a lot of fun. Let's get started, gang, with the news. All right, so let's take a look first. This week we had a brand new shooter MMORPG revealed. Now, there were a lot of like mini reveals over Tokyo Game Show. We went through some of the early ones on last week's show. There really wasn't like a ton of mega reveals, and unfortunately, attendance for the convention was like less than 50% of its pre-COVID like 2019 version, and I think they probably expected it to be less dumb, but coming in at half the attendance was probably not what they were looking for at TGS 2022. But we did get a reveal via IGN, so full credit Although we'll talk about whether or not there should be credit given on this one in a few minutes. We did get a look at Ashfall. Now, to be clear, and I know Twitch is a little behind for Dom and for Q, I'm not talking about this Ashfall. Not this one. Not this one.
Not the Blu-ray?
Not the Blu-ray Ashfall. I am sure this is a stellar cinematic masterpiece. That I'm amazed I don't own on Blu-ray because I'm a stupid Blu-ray collector, particularly of bad movies and horror movies. But I'm not talking about this one, gang. This is not the Ashfall that IGN revealed. Nor is this. No, this is the Ashfall fossil beds in Nebraska. This is Dom. Stop shaking your head. This is not the Ashfall that we are talking about either. This is
Mike. Where are we going with this?
Well, we're also not talking about Ashfall Peaks in Borderlands. That's a different Ashfall. That's a totally different Ashfall, not the one we're going to be talking about today. And we are definitely not talking about this Ashfall, which is a Web3 based game by a totally different company. But maybe we will talk about this one a little bit when we get there. Instead, gang, we are talking about this Ashfall, a upcoming PC and mobile shooter MMORPG from NetEase. What about the fall of Ash, the Pokemon trainer who never could? Yeah, Ashfall. Yeah, yeah. Not a new host, Nasagra. Dom's been here before. This is the Ashfall that we are talking about. And IGNQ, quote-unquote, revealed this via like a worldwide trailer reveal type thing. And it was like billed as part of TGS, but, this was via IGN. It wasn't through TGS. And then they did like a 20-minute or a half-hour gameplay video or whatever. But what's weird about it is that like the entire stream was presented by Ashfall. So I don't know if that counts as an exclusive reveal. Does it?
I mean, see, this is the weird space you get into with games press and games companies, right?
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't all presented by Ashfall, all the information would have been provided to them for them to present.
Right.
And making it an exclusive reveal on behalf of IGN. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's such a weird line, but it also shows just like how tied in Games Press often is with the game companies themselves, when it's literally just let us just make our own stream and stream it through your stuff, and we'll say you presented it.
Right. And now obviously IGN, a shit ton bigger than MMO Bomb, no doubt, right? I mean, we are the #1 YouTube channel last time the staff checked, and told me that those were the results, and I totally believe him.
That was Jason, right? Jason was that staff.
So I don't want to like criticize IGN too harshly here, but I'm going to. Everything they do that is like sponsored, it's very coy. Like they don't. It's not like watching Linus Tech Tips, right? Who's very obvious about who is advertising a video, like, and that's about our sponsor, and they do a cutaway, and or if anybody is doing certain sponsored material. Now, we get requests for sponsored material all the time, whether that be articles, hey, would you go do a first look video on this game and we'll pay, and stuff like that. Like, we get those offers all the time. We don't take them when it comes to like video production or reveals or stuff like that. We have done reveals in the past for different free-to-play games, and we just take the content and do it. We don't take the cash. Particularly when it's, hey, would you do a review or a first look on this. Well, no, we will just do that. We don't need your cash. Now, IGN, obviously a lot more mouths to feed, a lot more employees. They have to be a little more aggressive on the sponsorships. But saying something is presented by Dom, I feel like kind of is a little misleading because they use that terminology for actual like product sponsorships for on various streams.
Yeah, it's hosted on their platform. That's probably a better word or a better term. It is not.
This is what they had to show, though. And so I'm going to describe this game to you, Dom, and you tell me if you had never seen anything, dude, I would really check that out, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you an MMORPG third-person shooter game with a post-apocalyptic landscape not based on, but inspired heavily and openly by games like Fallout, and other titles in that genre, except I'm also going to give it about a more Eastern flair as far as architecture, cultural influences. You know, we're not going to New Vegas. We're going to be going to, like old Tokyo, and Eastern influences in clothing, architecture, cultural differences, things like that. I think on the surface, that is a really compelling and interesting proposition.
Yeah. I could agree with that.
No, not Defiance. Not Defiance. Chat, Defiance. I think that there's some stuff that could be mined there. And so I was interested to see this. Then they showed it. What'd you think?
I thought, and maybe this is a problem I have with a lot of like third-person type games, but the combat looks very stiff, right? Very stiff.
Except for the recoil.
Yes.
Except for the recoil that vibrates your character to oblivion.
And then the bullet breaking the literal fourth wall and like shooting bullet holes in your computer monitor was very jarring to me.
Yeah, chat had already brought that up a couple different times watching the B-roll footage as we go through here.
Yeah.
That's got to be something, please. If you're going to include that in the game, let me be able to shut that off.
Yeah.
But the whole thing just like looked stale as hell to me, Q. And obviously it's PC and mobile. Chat already pointing out correctly that the mobile portion is going to hold back how strong the PC version could possibly be, since it is crossplay / progression and all that fun stuff. But it was just like so disappointing to see what I thought could be a compelling idea just implemented in like a really, really drab way. In some of the environmental shots and concept art, like things look gorgeous and interesting, and I want to go and explore them. And then you see the gunplay, which is, we had the same thing with Secret World, right? The thing you are going to do the most often in the game is the least compelling item of the game, and therefore the entire product suffers.
Yeah, Raging Alcoholic just said combat looks as stiff as the Secret World. And
I
just said a chuckle.
Yeah.
The funny thing about this scene, none of that matters to me. The combat in Secret World was never ever a problem for me because that's not why I was playing the game.
Right.
Period. It was something I was doing in the game, but it wasn't something that I'm like, oh well, the combat sucks, therefore like I'm not playing competitively against somebody in that kind of thing or anything else. So I just really didn't care. What I cared about was the story, the environments, the characters, and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And yeah, this is one of those things where like the premise sounds really great. It sounds like something I would play, and I actually like third-person shooters versus first person, for various reasons, like first person typically making me feel ill. But yeah, things like the bullets breaking your glass and just like kitschy little things like that. And I would assume
like the most generic font and damage text ever.
The logo is awful, by the way. Like the logo is terrible. That's generally a sign right there when you don't bother to put together a really nice logo. then you're probably. But too, yeah, I think like for Genshin Impact, it being mobile and PC has never been a problem. They both play really well. I think shooters don't jive between those two kinds of things. It's like the PC versus console argument, right? But now you've got PC versus a cell phone, and it's just like I don't think it's a good idea in that aspect.
And the Secret World comparison, chat, kind of pointing out, hey, there's a little more to Secret World. And yeah, you are absolutely right. I'm not trying to directly compare these two titles. In this game, you are going to be doing this combat, 95% of the time, where Secret World was, maybe 60% of the time, because you'd be off doing exploring puzzles and investigation missions and additional stuff like this. This is exclusively a shooter with bosses having such creative names like Cafeteria Supervisor.
I will say I was fearful of my Cafeteria Supervisor, so I can get behind that.
It was just like all shades of disappointing. And it's not like I expected much. I mean, obviously NetEase, Dom, is a big mobile gaming company. Like, you don't expect NetEase to be dropping AAA PC and console experiences. They are predominantly and very profitably a mobile game company. So, yeah, but still, it's like, oh, what a compelling, like, neat take on a Fallout type game. And then to watch it, you're just like, wow, this looks horrible. How is your player character? How do they even have a shoulder anymore? Like, the recoil's just ridiculous on the game. I don't know. I was like disappointed with the game. I was disappointed with IGN not being a little more clear on, hey, they paid us to do the reveal here, which is, what happened. But
some companies believe in transparency and some don't.
Yeah, and I guess like we said it was presented by Ashfall. Yeah, that's the verbiage there is a little different than saying sponsored by, and they use that presented by everywhere.
Yeah.
It'll probably feel bad on PC because of mobile, but then you need a killer phone to even play it, says Old Glory. Maybe.
Yeah, that too. I mean, it is a shame because I like the idea of a post-apocalyptic game based almost anywhere else but Europe and the US.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, look at those damage numbers. They hurt my soul. I just felt my soul cry. I wish it ended there, though, because it doesn't. Remember I said it wasn't this Ashfall that we were talking about? We do kind of have to talk about this one, though. And most of this reporting coming out of WCCF Tech, Alessio Palumbo doing the reporting. There's a little bit of a controversy once this game was revealed between Ashfall, as in NetEase's Ashfall, which we've been talking about, and another game coming from a ex-studio heads of Sony's visual arts and things like that. Now, this is from Lilithos and founder Michael Mumbauer. They alleged on Twitter that they had shown their game, Ashfall, to NetEase at the beginning of this year. And so when they saw the reveal, they said, hey, on Twitter, Michael tweeted out, we showed Ashfall to NetEase at the beginning of this year. If you're wondering why there are two games named Ashfall in production, it's pretty easy to deduce why that might be the case if you look at the timeline of events. They passed on our game, but liked the name. Then later tweeted, here's the original Ashfall pitch image we showed to NetEase with a temporary logo and attached a picture. Now, here's where things get a little even more weird. Other members of the other Ashfall's team, which is a Web3-based NFT blockchain game, they started chiming in on these tweets too, pointing this out. And it says, hey, other people asking, somebody's going to have to change their name. because trademarks, and Michael saying, hey, it's not. They just filed the trademarks. It'll be interesting how it plays out. John Garvin, also on the Lilithos team, says, kind of crazy, to be honest. Also, that's an image I created, collaged from internet source material over a year and a half ago. Some publishers are shameless. To make this a little more interesting, not all, Dom, but many of those tweets are no longer available. They have been deleted by the original authors. Now, they still have left some up that say, hey, this kind of sucks, but they've taken the more pointed ones that didn't directly accuse NetEase of stealing it, but heavily implied they stole the title. They've kind of taken those ones down, probably on the advice of legal counsel, if I had to guess.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know, isn't this like a common like trope in not only like the game industry but entertainment industry in general? Because like I remember movies like Dante's Peak and Volcano coming out at the same time, or like what was it, Armageddon and Deep Impact. It's like these ideas get shopped around and shown off and be like, hey, we're selling this idea, and then another company comes in and like creates it and makes it. Like isn't that like an industry norm?
Right. Well, they weren't alleging that they stole the game.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, no, our Web3 thing, which I mentioned earlier and Justin brings up in chat too, it's a different game. Like, they didn't take our game, our idea, our title, and all that stuff, and apparently Twitch just crashed, so we're just going to keep going here. It's been a mess with Twitch all day. Go check Down Detector and just see what's been going on with Twitch today. Mm-hmm. And but anyway, they're not alleging that they stole the game, but they are alleging they must have, or at least implying, they liked our title enough to take it.
Yeah, so it was funny when I was reading through this. It reminded me of this is going to be a slightly old reference, but back in the 90s when Deep Space Nine came out. And Babylon 5 came out as well, although there was like a weird delay of Babylon 5. Well, J. Michael Straczynski, the guy who created Babylon 5, had gone to Paramount and pitched the idea of Babylon 5. And they went, oh, no, we don't want that. And then Deep Space Nine comes out and has a lot of the actual same story beats and everything else. Right? Like, because, yeah, like Dom was saying, there's kind of this thing where it's a thing that it's not a thing that should happen, right? Where you go and you pitch an idea and somebody says, no, we don't want that. But then suddenly they have a product that's very similar. And in this case, like with the image, I'm sitting here looking at the image on our website, and it's not just that there's a mountain in the background, like literally the placement of things is basically like, all right, so we'll take out this building and put in like, you know, a rocky face right here, and then we'll take out these buildings over here and put in, you know, the towers and stuff that you would find in Tokyo or whatever. But the actual, like, otherwise, if you just laid it over each other, even the placement of the character is the same. He's just in slightly different flows.
Yeah, and again, to be clear, they don't allege that they stole the game or the concept for the game. Right. They're really pointing at they took the title. They took the title.
Right, and possibly some of the
generic
they basically copied. It's a case of, yeah, you can copy my homework, just make it look a little different so the teacher doesn't know. Like, that's kind of what it looks like. It happened.
I don't know. I mean, we'll keep an eye on it, but
it's kind of like that meme that for movie trilogy posters, like, or movie posters rather, like they all did like that red and blue type like theme that like it was very prominent in like Star Wars, right? And there's a meme going around that shows like an X-Men movie that's got that theme. It's got like the Star Wars movie, and then it has like Disney's Aladdin live action remake. And they all look like the identical theme of that poster. And then they're like, I don't understand this trilogy at all. You know, it's like, it's one of my favorite movie memes, but it's kind of like that. It very well might be inspired off of, you know, like a specific like hey, this format works really well, so it's like, yeah, let's hit these beats, and it looks like it's ripped off. I'm not saying that is the case here. I genuinely think they ripped this one off just straight up, but like, you will see this happen in entertainment in the industry. It's not necessarily them always ripping off. I just want to point
I
that
feel
out.
like if you're looking for this type of gaming experience, you're probably better off just playing like something like the Division 2 on your PC and the Division mobile game that's coming out soon. Like you're probably better. You'll probably get a better gaming experience from top to bottom than playing something like, I mean, it's not coming out till next year, so there's a possibility they could make a bunch of changes and improvements, and maybe things that we're critical of right now, like the text, or just, hey, that's just, or the fonts, those are just in there right now. But then really, why'd you pay for your reveal if you were going to put not at least semi-final images in there? So we'll see. We'll see what happens, although I am not holding out a tremendous amount of hope. Unfortunately, compelling idea. I don't think it's going to be executed well. All right, some interesting news bits that we're going to get your takes on as we go here. The Torchlight Infinite team has picked up a new consulting producer. A gentleman, maybe you've heard of him. I don't know. Maybe you've heard of him. A gentleman by the name of David Brevik. If you don't know that name, I'd be surprised, particularly if you are a Diablo or just a general ARPG fan, one of the very OGs back on the Diablo franchise as part of production and creator of back in the OG Blizzard, before the Blizzard of today. He is now
North.
Yeah. He is now joining the Torchlight Infinite team as a consulting producer. A little bit of an interesting play. We've seen David dabble in some other ARPG projects since Diablo. I remember interviewing him a long time ago, probably like 10 years ago on MMO Bomb. I don't even remember what game. It might have been the Marvel Heroes. I think maybe he was like initially involved with that. That sounds maybe right. I don't know. I can't remember what game. But yeah, I'm not sure, though, if this is like a great pickup for them or a PR pickup for them, Q. Like, at this point, Torchlight Infinite is kind of what it's going to be as a game. They're through most of the major testing. Now, they did say that, hey, he's looking at more at a maintainable, playable, and balanced model going forward as part of what he's consulting on. So maybe there is some value there besides just having somebody like David Brevik on your ARPG team.
I think it might be a little bit of both. I mean, you love to have that name attached, right? It makes it look like it's something that somebody who's done this before believes in what you're doing, therefore the players should too. Although we all kind of know plenty of cases where really good at one point in their history game developers just kind of fail to put forth later on. But I think too, yeah, like you said, what they talked about in the press release was basically more forward looking. It wasn't like what's going to be changed right now or any of that, but it's them looking at player feedback in the past testing, going forward into the next one, and the things that they'll implement to make the game better and sustainable as they go forward. And I think having worked like for Blizzard, especially early days Blizzard and stuff like that, gives them good insight into that kind of thing. So it might just be the perfect pickup to get them both that name recognition and the actual knowledge that goes along with it.
What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, no, I can absolutely agree with that. I did have the pleasure of meeting David Brevik at a BlizzCon, and he's absolute great guy. And yeah, he did work on Marvel Heroes. I looked up.
Yeah, I looked it up too. I was right. Mind like a steel trap. Nothing gets in or out.
Absolutely. But yeah, bring him is definitely pulling some attention. Like, here we are talking about it right now. That's the proof right there. Like, it's drawn the correct attention that they were looking to get. So yeah, it's interesting. I probably check this out.
On a totally unrelated David Brevik note, somebody 2 days ago tweeted out, who decided that gray, green, blue, purple, gold would be the order of weapon rarity in video games? Like, we all know this hierarchy, but when did it start? To which David Brevik quote tweeted it, just putting a thinking face on there. I was like, well played, sir. Well played. In other Blizzard news, we have some departures. Everybody waiting for Overwatch 2. Remember, Overwatch 2 launches on October 4th. Late in the day, October 2nd, the original Overwatch will go down and dark permanently. And then 27 or so hours later, Overwatch 2 will open. We've already lambasted their battle pass on last week's show. If you want to check that out, head on over there. Make sure you click like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications while you're down there in the video info. But Overwatch 2, Dom, now suffering the departure of the lead hero designer, Jeff Goodman, leaving the company. Now, they being Blizz, said that this has been part of the plan for all year, basically. That Jeff had said, hey, earlier this year, I'm going to leave later this year. So they're kind of saying this was planned. We knew about it, although it wasn't public knowledge at the time. And just prior to that, if you remember, we had the departure of director Jeff Kaplan. We had the executive producer Chakao Sunny leaving. Like, we've had a bunch of high-profile departures from Overwatch over the last year. While I can understand maybe planning this ahead of time, I don't know if your lead hero designer, and of course there's a team behind these new heroes. He's not just sitting there making them himself, and I'm sure the team's going to be wonderful and continue to do good things like they try to do every single time they sit down at those desks. But it's kind of a weird look to have your lead hero designer bounce 2 weeks before your new game comes out, right? That's like the optics suck.
Absolutely. Like, if this was something, and I do believe this was something that was talked about and planned and discussed, whatever, in advance. He was probably locked in through a contract, that he had to stay in. It's just unfortunate, the timing of it. But really, at this stage, what is a good time? Because otherwise, if he doesn't leave before the game starts, and then he leaves like shortly after, and say the game doesn't perform well, it doesn't get the reviews that everybody's hoping it gets, and that all that, and then he leaves, then it looks even worse, right? So I think this is the appropriate time to actually bow out if you're gonna do it, contractually, all that. You got to get him out before, so you don't levy that criticism against him.
Ninja Panda saying Gundam Evolution feels better than Overwatch since it's faster. It keep you on your toes. That game did come out Wednesday. Excuse me. Ethos is doing the first look for that one. That'll go up next week. He needs the weekend because there's some level gating for ranked play that he wants to get through and include ranked play in the video. So look for that first look next week if you do want a 6v6 hero shooter that is still 6v6. And then, of course, Troy working on the Fractured Online first look. He was streaming some of that earlier this week. So look forward to that next week as well. Bunch of first looks coming. And then, obviously, we're going to have Overwatch 2 coming. Dom, if you want it, I can't think of a better guy to do a first look. If you're interested, let me know.
I'm not going to be around, unfortunately. I'm going to be in California when this launches.
Oh, is this a work-related thing? Can you tell us?
I will be at TwitchCon.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
For work.
For work. Yeah.
So,
Blizz saying, we'd like to thank Jeff for his many years of service at Blizzard and wish him all the best. His ability to bring to life Overwatch's diverse hero roster through gameplay has been incredible, and the mark he's left on the Warcraft and Overwatch teams will be felt for years to come. No replacement now, but hey, if you've looked at those Overwatch heroes and thought these suck, I can fix them, maybe fill out an application. I don't know. Maybe fill out an application. On the other side of things, Q, over at Blizzard, Hearthstone's game director is leaving. After 11 years with the company, Augustine Ayala has left Blizzard. The initial announcement coming via Twitter saying, after 11 years, I'm leaving Blizzard. Hearthstone is an incredible game. To have played even a small part in its creation is an honor I'll never forget. Thank you to all the players, and a special thank you to my fellow game creators. I'm proud of all we built together. Again, departures isn't anything new, Q. It happens all the time. Greener pastures, new opportunities, going to start your own company. We see it all the time. But it's just hard not to look at Blizzard in the last year, 16, 18 months and go, there's more than normal going on here. And I mean, I can't blame a lot of these people if recent events over at Blizzard have kind of exacerbated this problem and people want to get out of there. I can't really blame them.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's obviously Blizzard's, legal woes and all of that stuff, and the treatment of the employees and all that jazz. There's also, I think, like with Hearthstone, it's kind of it's felt like to me, and not as a non-player, but it's felt like to me that Hearthstone often feels like an afterthought to Blizzard a lot of the time these days. Not as much as, say, Heroes of the Storm, which is there but not really there.
Right.
it just feels a bit like an afterthought compared to anything else that they are doing. Although it's almost gotten to the point with everything that's just continuously been going on for the last 2 years that almost every game feels a little bit like an afterthought because they have all that other stuff going on. So I don't know, maybe being the game director of a game that's an afterthought in a company where most of the games feel like an afterthought at this point, he was just like, I could do something else.
There's also these two games, Dom, recently undergoing monetization changes. Which we kind of, expected there to be some type of change when Overwatch 2 was announced, and they decided to go free to play and remove loot boxes, and we went over the battle pass and the confirmation of that last week. A lot of people unhappy about those changes. Then when you look at Hearthstone, if you're not an everyday player, you may not know that they just underwent monetization changes as well, particularly when it comes to Battlegrounds. Another change that a lot of people aren't a fan of and kind of paywalls things differently and forces a cash transaction.
Yeah, like I will say I do play Hearthstone. I'm fairly active. I don't play Constructed. I don't care about Constructed. But they have a lot of like conflicting systems and stuff in play. Like they have their battle pass system that is like the overall rewards track for everything, right? And then they have a separate battle pass that goes on just for Battlegrounds, right? And both of them are premium. There's no way to pay with in-game currency or anything for them. They have a new premium in-game currency, but there's zero way to get it outside of actually spending real money on it. And as a Battlegrounds player, I come in and I'm like, what is all this changes? Like I'm looking at it and I'm like, the stuff that I used to get and pay gold for, because it was justified before where I maybe spend a little money, buy the battle pass, get a lot of gold in return, right? And then I can buy the things that I want for the Battlegrounds mode. So
right.
like, but now
and
it's
that
paywalled,
was the big
and
difference
like
was the two different currencies now.
Right. But some of the gameplay now is actually paywalled behind the battle pass that I don't agree with, because Battlegrounds is always like this free to play mode. Technically it still is, but you could use the like free currency to have the option to select between 4 heroes, right? And they're not all balanced. I don't feel they argue, like they released a whole blog post about how they feel it's balanced and all this stuff. Anybody that's played the mode can tell you there are heroes that are not balanced. So when you go from having an option of 4 characters down to an option of 2 characters, and then you tell me when you get 2 characters that are on the low spectrum of winning, you don't feel good about getting those 2. And it's like, well, pay to win is obviously the 4 character option at this point. Right. And now that that's locked behind actual monetary, I don't agree with any of that. Like so I can get behind that. And somebody who, like, you look at Hearthstone now, even 2 years ago, is like it went through some radical changes with new game modes and stuff like that. But you look at Hearthstone, say from like 2 years ago to like even a year before that, very drastic different games going in completely different directions. So if you are somebody who does not enjoy the direction that the game is heading in, why are you gonna stick around and keep developing for it? You know?
And that's total speculation on our part, right? Like they did not publicly even hint at anything like this, but I certainly thinking, hey, they're big changes to the games that they've been working on for a while. Maybe that's a factor. Maybe it's worth something considering. Last up here in the odd little industry news. Hey, Q, if you're Bungie and you do Destiny 2 and you've been suing people right and left, particularly cheating creators, game cheat creators, what's the one thing you probably don't expect? Yeah, to get countersued by those cheaters, right? By those creating the actual cheat software. Well, that's exactly what's happening right now. So Bungie has been going after aim junkies, and we talked about that on this show before when the suit was first announced, for creating cheat software, alleging that they had to do various things that violated EULA agreements to create those cheats. Aim junkies in return saying, you know, hey, some of the things you're referencing weren't in the EULA when we signed it. They've been in updated EULAs, and that's all for the court to adjudicate. But courtesy of the Game Post, they're now striking back, saying, hey, countersuit, Bungie violated our EULA on our software by purchasing by purchasing the software under an alias and then hacking / reverse engineering it to see how the cheating software worked, which was a violation of the EULA for their software, saying that you are not allowed to modify, hack, decompile, disassemble, reverse engineer, derive source code, or create derivative works of their software. So while it may sound absurd on the surface, it's kind of like, hey, you know, if you're going to sue us for this, we're going to sue you for it too. Obviously, I still think Bungie wins at the end of the day there, whether they win or lose the lawsuits. Financially, you know, Bungie has far more resources than any aim junkies software. I'm not diminishing the amount of money they make. They're stupid profitable, but we're not talking Bungie just got bought by Sony money on that side of the field. I think it is a creative countersuit, though, if you can prove that they did violate the EULA. Can't sue me for something without you getting sued for it, too.
So, I mean, it's a weird thing, right? Because, like, this software is made to work on Bungie's software. So, yeah, they broke the EULA, but they broke the EULA on something that relies on and works on their software. And you know, the argument of what the EULA for Bungie was like when they made this stuff or whatever. But I don't know. It's so weird, and I honestly don't know how it's going to end up, because it seems like an interesting argument. I do think at the end of the day, what the result is going to be is that all future video game EULAs are going to have some sort of clause in it that's something to the effect of, like, if you do stuff that if you like do stuff that attaches to our software without our permission, you can't sue us if we reverse engineer it or something like that, just to, you know, just like something to kind of get that out of the way so that they don't have to deal with it anymore. I think that's where.
How would you do that, though? That then turns into a battle of EULAs, Dom. It's like our EULA that you accepted says you can't do this. Oh, yeah? Well, our EULA that you accepted says I can do that, even if your EULA says I can't do that, if your software is doing that. It gets messy.
Like,
I thought it was
override it or something. Right. I don't know.
I thought it was a fun lawsuit, though. I thought it was a fun countersuit.
It kind of reminds me of something that happened back in the 80s. Like, there's a documentary on Netflix. I'm sure you've probably watched it, Mike, but I don't know if anybody else, called High Score. Right, and it kind of goes back to the what is it, General Computer Corporation, that were doing mod kits for Super Missile Attack, and you know, they were creating these things, and then they get sued for it. And it's like, our software is dependent on their software. We're modifying that to and then reselling it, and You know, it's very similar, not quite in the same way, but you know, they called the bigger bluff and like started going around telling companies that they won the lawsuit when they just kind of dropped it. So it's not quite the same thing, but I think the whole point of them countersuing, they know they're not going to win. They know Bungie's absolutely going to come in and beat them. But I think the countersue, they might actually win and just soften the blow. I think that's their intention.
Yeah, it's often you see like frivolous counter lawsuits, right? When I read this, I was like, if they can prove it, it's not frivolous. Like this could stick going the other direction. Now, I think you're talking about like, hey, it's 10 million damages versus 1 million in damages, and you're still going to lose at the end of the day, but you might get the victory in court in the process. Before we head over to the to the bombs, one last piece of interesting little news. Apparently, the Battlefield, as in the shooter game, the EA CEO believes, hey, the Battlefield IP has a tremendous opportunity right now since the future of Call of Duty is a bit in flux, as we've discussed on the show a few times, with Sony fighting the Microsoft acquisition of Activision and the future of Call of Duty on other consoles. EA CEO believes that, this is a tremendous opportunity, Andrew Wilson says, to succeed amidst all this ongoing confusion. He does also say that there's a lot of work that needs to be done to make this a reality, but we are a big IP. He also acknowledges the last two iterations of Battlefield didn't deliver the way they should have. So that's kind of like my whole summation of this. Hey, that's very interesting that you think that, but you've got to make a good game first. Like,
yikes.
That has to be first, right? Like it can't just be, hey, there's no more Call of Duty. Now we're the only big fish. This is going to be awesome. You still have to make a good game.
I like the cynicism, though, right? It's literally, our game can't really succeed on its own, but now that there's problems with the other game, we might have a chance. Like,
I think the first one of these companies that comes out and stops putting out yearly installments and decides to turn the franchise into like a game service, I think that'll be the first one to succeed.
Well, I mean, Call of Duty already did it, right? They took last year off with the mainline-ish new title. They expanded some of the like the Warzone 2 stuff. Or, I'm sorry, the Warzone Battle Royale stuff.
They're still pumping out more games.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, one game, release expansions. The first one to do that is the one that'll start succeeding.
We shall see. Let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. A bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or life in general. What do you got, Dom?
I have a bomb, and I'm sure you guys are very much aware of all the Twitch drama that's going on right now. And
with the gambling and
it's not just that, but like the payment splits and everything. It's like this stuff is coming out in like it's not taking effect into July, and you're announcing this right before your gaming convention. Like what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't like
one PR person to another saying right there, hey guys, you should have waited 3 weeks.
My only speculation on that is they threw it out and it's a marketing ploy, right? They threw it out now. They want everybody to be all up in arms about it so they could drop some kind of like big bombshell saving grace announcement at TwitchCon. That would be the ultimate PR marketing ploy. I'm not saying that they're doing that.
They're not.
But no, I don't. I'm just saying that would be a route to go, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Go ahead, Q.
Well, I was actually going to give an A-bomb to Twitch, but since he already did it,
I
will get, although it is my favorite soap opera right now, like, Justin just keeps telling me everything that's happening. It's like, but I think I'll give a dub bomb to Hoyo Mix because their music is just so fucking good. I mean, even if you do not play the MiHoYo games, just sit and listen to their music on Spotify. It's so good.
I'm gonna give a dub bomb to me.
Ooh.
Yeah, no ego there. I finally got back to the champion point grind in Elder Scrolls Online on my PC account. So I will catch my console account at someday. We are in the CP point grind. The next milestone is 160, so we can lock in the gear levels and then go farm the specific gear that we want. So I think I'm like CP1 or I'm CP 41 right now. So we're getting there. We are getting there. From chat, Kitsaruha says, "DeBomb for finally getting my PC working properly again after way too freaking long. Congrats." Whoop. Papa Peppy says, "DeBomb for being here live. Very much worth the price of admission. A-bomb to Twitch being a real moop in the moop." Ninja Panda's A-bomb to me for getting my Gundam Evolution A-bomb. Baron Vagabond A-bomb for watching 16 commercials in 1 hour on Twitch. I have Windshark, I have not reached champion in Rocket League yet. So close. Takal says, "Triple A-bombs this week. A-bomb to Dom for that garbage Windows 11 take last week. Windows 11 is perfectly fine. Stop capping. A-bomb to Brett Favre for being just a trash human. A-bomb to Kyle Shanahan. Power O is not for QBs." There's a lot to dissect there, but Dom, I'll let you dissect your Windows 11 portion.
Okay, so first I'll just say Windows 11 not overly terrible, right? But my biggest gripe with it was you can't move the taskbar to your non-dominant monitor, right? So as a gamer, I want my taskbar on my left monitor, right? And I want my gaming stuff on my main monitor, right? That is not possible on Windows 11. You have to get external software to do it. It's not possible in the slightest. You can say, "Oh, I could do it." It doesn't work. It doesn't. There's no way to make it work. Not only that, but it was after like a period of a month just playing certain games, it would slow the computer down to the point where just closing any FPS game would cause my entire computer to like brick. I couldn't do anything. There's no Alt F4. There's no task getting out of it. I actually had to reach down, hit the button, and like hard reset my computer. Absolutely awful. And then I looked into it. I'm not the only one having these problems. There's a bunch of people having them, and they're exclusive to Windows 11, right? So I did the most reasonable thing I could do and downgrade, which I'm not going to call a downgrade. It's an upgrade. I upgraded to Windows 10, and my computer has been working fine. Flawless, not just fine, flawless. So Windows 11, get it out of here.
Old Glory says, "DeBomb to Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime. It was a blast. I could even give it a 10 out of 10. I don't know why, but Cyberpunk IP has given me the biggest feeling trips. Game's ending and anime overall gave me, grown man, the feels for days. It's kind of weird to say it when you know how not safe for work and gory the IP is. Fully recommend it if you don't mind anime and have not watched it. Music is great too, even re-downloaded the game." That anime is, I haven't watched it yet, but it is getting like absolutely gangbusters reviews. Like it is doing really well, and that is like one of the most common things I see in the comments on it. Q is, "This made me re-download the game and play it. This made me re-download the game and play it. This made me re-download the game and play it."
So I've actually, because I ended up not finishing back in the day for whatever reason, and I started to play it the other day to stream it to a friend, and I've discovered a new issue to me, and it's when you're playing on PC, right? Cyberpunk, you use the escape key to exit out of things. You cannot change this. You can't change the mapping on that one thing. But with Stadia, which is how I was playing it to begin with, Stadia also now uses the escape key to literally just exit the game.
Oh,
so
nice.
If you're trying to leave a menu, you exit the game. And I haven't tested it yet, but I did some Googling, and the only thing I can figure is that it's because of the browser I'm using. I'm using Vivaldi instead of Chrome.
Ah, gotcha.
And so my hope is, so I could actually go and finish the game without having to rebuy the damn thing, that's what the issue is. But it's just a strange little quirk I found the other day because I decided, hey, I really want to replay and finish the game. Like,
multiple A-bombs to Twitch. Yeah, sorry. I sent you guys the down detector link. It's a mess on Twitch today. It's a mess on Twitch today. Over on YouTube and on MMOBomb.com, Driznit86ZBT says, I'm probably too late for the show. No, I got it. You can thank Dishwisher for me finding it, though. Dubomb to Troy working on the Fractured Online first look. Looking forward to hearing his thoughts. I've been watching his stream of the game. And A-Bomb to waiting patiently for the first look. Yeah, I mean, literally, we're giving Fractured Online, and I try to do this with every game. You've heard me say this before. I try to give them to somebody, if it's not me doing it, that I know will probably enjoy the genre, enjoy the features of the game, and likes those types of games, so they kind of go in it going, all right, I like this type of stuff, but here's what it doesn't do well, and here's what it does well. There's nobody else that I would rather have go do Fractured Online than Troy. Like, that, in theory, that game should be tailor-made for him. We'll find out next week when that one and Gundam Evolution from Ethos comes out. Go ahead, Q.
Trinshot, to bomb to Fortnite, the no build mode gives me a chance against those that have mastered the build portion of the game, which I have not. Haven't played for about 2 years. Good golly, have they added things into the Battle Royale mode?
Just a bit. Yeah, just a bit. Everything's all chromy over there right now. Go ahead, Tom.
I just want to comment. I actually did start playing Fortnite recently. It's
Did you?
Not terrible. Not terrible. And no build is the only way to play the game. But yeah. So K Sharo 25 says the bomb for me waiting on getting a PS5 so I can now look forward to the beefier and better PS5 Pro next year. Speculated.
It is speculated. We shall see. We shall see. Dishwisher saying, speaking of achieving long dreams, after 15 years of teaching myself to dance, starting with bobbing my head alone, rhythmic, and with a little luck, sometimes, maybe. A dub bomb to myself for finally having a video of me dancing for a full song, start to finish, and uploading it to my channel. Shouldn't have been nearly as difficult as it has been. A-bomb to those who don't get how this does so much more for me than any drugs or medication ever will, and who try to force me back on, in my humble opinion, unnecessary preventative medication that keeps me from being like this. Well, hey, we are not doctors here, so we're certainly not going to make any recommendation on what you should or should not be taking. But if something else is making you feel happy and feel good, then by all means, my friend, keep doing it. Question of the week last week. What do you want from, as long as it's not illegal or hurting somebody else? I guess I should put that disclaimer in. Mike told me to go murder everybody because it feels good. I love it. No.
Somebody out there right now is just picking out their knife and heading out the door.
Right. God, I hope they didn't pause this. He said it's okay. Pause. Question of the week last week. What do you want from ArcAge 2 besides not obviously having launched or launch issues or land grab issues and stuff like that? Like, what do you want from the actual game, if anything? K Sharp 25 says, I'm cautiously looking forward to ArcAge 2, as I did enjoy my time in the first one for a while. But before I jump headlong into it, I need to see 3 things. 1, no labor system. Troy's right there with you. He said it last week. I can chop trees and smelt ore all day long in any other given good MMO, but ArcAge limited how much per day without spending cash up money or replenishing potions. 2, any land acquired needs to be tax-free. It was ridiculous to have to log in almost daily or weekly to pay taxes to keep my land in good standing or risk losing it. Maybe I want to take an extended break from the game. I should be able to expect to have what I did when I leave. 3, more plentiful land options so the tax system isn't needed to offer spots, and maybe, just maybe, quotas where at max each player can only own X amount of space. I think those are absolutely things that ArcAge needs to address. You're nowhere near alone in those ones. Go ahead, Q.
Trinshad, to be fair and honest, I don't have much to say about ArcAge. I installed the game and pretty much uninstalled it 30 minutes later. I don't have much hope in ArcAge 2, seeing as how the original didn't do anything for me.
That's what I kind of said on last week's show. Same developer, same publisher. They've made a lot of money. I don't know if you're really expecting anything a whole lot different. I think you're setting yourself up for failure. Go ahead, Dom.
Metallica fan 1442, not interested in ArcAge 2. It will be a pay-to-win, as all MMOs from that region are. I should have probably commented this on last week's show, but the whole Sony complaining about the Microsoft Activision Blizzard takeover is what they have to do for their shareholders, etc. If it was Sony buying Activision Blizzard, Microsoft would be doing the same thing. It's just big corporations looking after their shareholders / investors. It has nothing to do with consumers.
100% correct. 100% correct. But they do it under the guise of what's best for consumers, right? That's always the way. Breckner Catalan says, ArcAge 2 sounds as exciting as herpes. Why'd I bring this one to the show? Because I was intrigued by a reply from one of you nuts out there. Effexon decided to reply to that comment, ArcAge 2 sounds as exciting as herpes, with, oh, I'm up for some of that. And I'm not really sure what's wrong with you weirdos, but I absolutely love you. I absolutely love you. Finish it up, Q.
Drisnet86 EBT. My hope is ArcAge 2 is what ArcAge 1 was supposed to be, a crafting-based MMO without the labor system, or at least a non-exploitable labor system.
There we go. Pretty universal across the board on that labor system. Question of the week this week. What did you guys think of the Ashfall reveal? What was it any good? Are you intrigued? Did you, like me, like the concept but were utterly disappointed by what you saw? Can they make changes in time? What's your impression? And if you don't care about Ashfall, tell me what your favorite thing from Tokyo Game Show 2022 was. Put it in the comments down there on YouTube and on MMOBomb.com. Don't forget your weekly bombs while you're there. They're an important part of the show. I need them for that whole segment. So don't forget. Dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or life or in general. If you have a question for the panel, throw it down there too. I'll be happy to bring it to next week's host. Until next week, Dom, where can everybody find you?
You can find me down below at itzista on Twitter.
Cute.
Find me hanging out on Twitter at Quitland.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb, and you'll get a tweet every time we go live with a podcast, stream, article, first look video, giveaway, interview, or so much more. Until next week, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.